This is the Straight to Video podcast. I think today I'm giving this actually 3 runs, stopped and started over. I think I'm just gonna go on Twitter today. I think I'm just gonna let's just see what's happening on Twitter. That's what I'm gonna do today. So let's do here. Let's see here. The great Uncle Al Heyman bringing that 80s savings and loan scandal back to boxing. Form absolutely brilliant. Slim. This is Noon Street finest Ron Boy Fresh. Ron Boy's active in boxing Twitter. I see him a lot. I don't get hate for promotions. I really don't. I don't like Bob Arum because I just think that he just lets fighters waste and their cards make no sense. They have no plan to them. They're just kind of putting stuff together randomly. But I don't root against Top Rank. I just wish sometimes they had better fights on and they had more of a plan and I could see it and it made more sense. But I don't get rooting against PBC. I seen a guy do a whole, podcast or episode on YouTube, whatever he calls it, on, the PBC and how he was saying they have no stars. But that's not true because they have Gervonta Davis and Earl Spence are two of the top selling pay-per-view guys in boxing. But only behind Canelo? Manny Pacquiao, who's, fights once every 3 years. So you can't say they don't have stars because to say that would just be putting down the whole sport then, right? It would be putting down Top Rank, be putting down the Zone. I just don't get putting down promotions. I don't get I don't get guys that are overly fans of promotions. I don't get guys that put down promotions. I don't care. I just want more options to watch fights. If PBC's putting on fights, that's good. If DAZN's putting on fights in Matchroom, that's good. If Golden Boy's putting on Top Rank, good. I want to watch them. That's all I care about. I just want to see good fights, good matchups. I want to see the best guys fight each other. I don't care about the promotions, whether they're good or whether I root against them or for them. It doesn't matter. I like DAZN. I like Matchroom because I pay a membership. I pay $10 a month and I get some, low level fights, some high level fights, some pay-per-view fights that should be on pay-per-view that are on that. So I like that. I like the ESPN Plus model. I like that it's on ESPN. I like that it's on Fox. PBC gives you more pay-per-views than any, but I'll still pay for it. It's not, killing the bank or anything. I just don't get this against one thing. Now, some of them have business models. Yes. I seen a guy post about what PBC does with their champions. It's not all true. Some of it's hyperbolic, but some of it's true. Yes, of course. Right. Of course. But I just don't get I'm against them. I want them to fail. A lot of guys that like PBC want DAZN to fail. They want it to fail. I don't get that at all. Why would you want anything that shows boxing to fail? If you're a fan of the sport, it's with the UFC. I don't know if people are MMA fans or they're just UFC fans. I don't know that. And I don't know that if the UFC went away and the UFC had to work on the boxing's model, would the fans stay? If Bellator was the biggest thing, right? Would the fans stay? Maybe not. I don't think so. I think the UFC doesn't think that either, that they would stay. I think they think that they're UFC fans and not MMA fans. But the people that go against Premier Boxing, I don't care either way. I just want the best things. And if Premier Boxing doesn't get a TV deal, that's unfortunate. To me, that we suffer. Boxing fans suffer. I don't know why you would want that. I don't get the, just choose a side thing. Let's see here. Virgil Ortiz versus Aegis Kavalaskas. I just call him Mean Machine. I mean, that name is brutal. I screw up names so much. I'm stumbling on it. I'm going to choke on one of these names one day. Okay, let's see here. How is Fury Wilder 3? Tank, Canelo, Crawford, Porter, Ruiz, Lopez, Cambosos, all going on pay-per-view within a 6-week period. Glad you added... Okay, let's see here. Glad you added the next 2 weeks. This is from Everything Boxing. Okay. Not that I'm American or that affects me at all. Okay. So, let's see here. Let's go back to this guy responded. Lopez fight. Oh, son of a gun. No, wait. Did I lose it? Let's see. I think it scrolls down. What is happening here? Oh, that was going to be a good one. I don't know. We lost it. That pisses me off. I want to see the response in that. Yeah, I think a lot of pay-per-views next to each other isn't the best, especially when it's week to week. I think that hurts because people are better with their money than I am. I'll give you that. People are better with their money than I am because I buy everything. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, let's look for another tweet then. We got Shakur Stevenson fighting Jamel Herring, which is a fight I really like, and I think that they did their best to make sure Jamel didn't get that fight, but he finally did, and I think that's a very interesting fight. I think people are starting. It's funny because I think if you asked months ago, beginning of the year, just like Shakur would like people just imagine Shakur runs through Jamel Herring, and now like people as a group are coming together and thinking that's a more competitive fight. And I've always been on that's a more competitive fight. I always wanted to see it. I always wanted Jamel Herring to get his fair shake. He's one of those guys that's earned everything he's gotten in boxing, and I know people are like, well, who hasn't earned? I don't think Shakur's earned everything he's gotten in boxing. I don't. I think Shakur has the rep from having the Olympic status, right? Having a medal. And then Top Rank bringing him along. I don't think anyone brought Jamel Herring along. I think Jamel Herring had to come up a little harder route. I think that's a good fight. I really do. I got blocked by Dan Rafael, by the way. I just tweeted about this. I don't know what the hell possibly I could have said to Dan Rafael to offend him. I'm the least of. You should see the stuff that people say about Dan Rafael on Twitter. I don't say any of this. I like Dan Rafael. If Dan Rafael, if ever, by some chance, you're one of the 15 people who listen to my podcast, what the hell? In the comments, put, what did I do to offend you? What did Ezra do to offend you? I don't get it. I defend Dan Rafael. Let's see here. This is Salvador Rodriguez. He's a reporter, Spanish-speaking reporter. I believe, actually, before I start saying. Yeah, he is. Okay. Yeah, I was like, I can get myself in trouble. You put undisputed in 10-9, whatever, countdown. So that's Canelo. It has to be Canelo. Canelo versus Plant. I think that, honestly, I like when stuff like this happens. Like when the fight gets canceled, but then it gets made. And the way it did, right? And then everybody had like their time to talk bad about Canelo and say that he was dodging Plant now, or he was protecting his legacy or whatever, right? Protect his record. And then it's going to happen. It's like, okay, well, everybody got those takes out, so you can't take them back now, right? So let's see how this fight plays out, because I'm pretty sure Canelo's going to put it on Plant. I wouldn't say I'm rooting for it. I'm not rooting for it. I want to see how it plays out. I think Plant's talented, but I just don't think he's nowhere near the level of Canelo. But I do like when people get their takes, and it reminds me of like when your friend's dating someone, and then they break up, and then people open up like their honest opinion about that person, and then they get back together. That's what we're in. They got back together. Now we have to live what was sent out there. We have to live with that now. And everyone that had to take that Canelo was ducking him, that Plant was going to give him problems, you're stuck with that. You can't take that back now. I really love that. It's like one of my favorite things. That's one of my favorite things to happen this summer in boxing, if that fight gets signed. Mousasi versus Salter. Mousasi, he's pretty smooth. Like Mousasi, I mean, I've always watched Mousasi, but I think I really studied him this week. And Salter's going to be looking for a takedown. Like he's going to look to just ground and pound control. I'm just curious if just the all-around game, like the all-around game of Mousasi, it's like what you saw, honestly, with Michael Chiesa, right, versus Luque. And it's just like, it's just so obvious what he needs to do that it almost like if you even see Khabib, right, like Khabib would still stand and sometimes be effective. Like he wasn't afraid to go to the ground, obviously. So he would like explode with like flying knees, look for big hooks. He had a good, decent jab. Like, and he used that to his advantage. But like these guys, like it looks like they never work stand up. Like Michael Chiesa looked like he was stumbling against the fence. And that's an easy way to tell, like in MMA, right? If like a guy's moving around and he trips himself along the fence, it's because he's not used to moving around. Like he doesn't do this often. And he lost track of where he was. And when a guy's doing that, he's moving around, you see him stumbling, he's about to get knocked out. Or he's about to be put in trouble because he's, without even pressure him, he's falling apart. And that's what Chiesa did. And I'm curious if Salter's going to look like that in this fight. That's going to happen tonight. Hopefully I post that before that even happens. What else we got? Let's see here. Let's go up. Okay, here we go. Back to the thing. This is the pay-per-view thing. He says Lopez fight is irrelevant since this is on Triller and they do their own thing. Let's see Bud Porter get made first. Oh, that's true. That's not even made. We haven't heard anything on that. Ruiz for sure getting a pay-per-view according to who? Oh yeah, Ruiz and Charles Martin, I don't know if that's pay-per-view. I have my doubts that it is. I think Ruiz versus the right guy could be pay-per-view. I don't think Ruiz versus anyone's pay-per-view. Unless, unless they have him on the right kind of deal where he gets paid a certain amount of money and they collect everything else, then maybe, because PBC has some deals like that. But I don't know if that's for sure pay-per-view. I hope it's not. I hope that's on a Fox card, and it'll be good exposure for Ruiz on a, the next fight probably being pretty big. And Tank would be Showtime pay-per-view in October. If on October, it would be October 30th. Tank said he's going into camp soon, so they're going to be announcing an opponent for him soon. I still think it's Danny Onis. I think he hurt himself with that colossal performance, but, it's not his fault. The headbutt happened. I think that they put that in the main event to, kind of build up Danny Onis. Ellerby kind of put himself in a spot responding to a tweet about Thurman and Tank at 147, and he was like, man, like, he was just like, Tank would smoke him easy. I was just like, why would you even say that? Like, why would you even put yourself in that conversation? And he did. He dropped himself in the corner, and then it was like, he said it was easy for them to make. So it's like, okay, well, that's a good fight to make. And a lot of people would want to watch that. And I'm sure Thurman would take it. And then, like, it was like, but it's obvious they're not going to make it, right? So it's like, why would you do this? Why did you put yourself out there? Even Tank was like, they think I'm Superman. You know what I mean? It was stupid. I think Alderby's at that point for me. It's like, he's a promoter. So it's like, why even listen to what he's got to say? Because everything's going to really like favor PBC fighters or his fighters. And not saying that like, I like listening to Eddie Hearn talk. I think Eddie Hearn is doing the same thing. I just think that sometimes he lets out a little more honest opinions. Bob Arum would just, it's just a shotgun blast of truth. To everyone's detriment, honestly. This is from Bad Beats Boxing Lex. Let's see. I got a bad feeling about Rigo Casimero. I think it's going to end up a serious banger. I think that might be a good fight. I think that's maybe a pretty damn good fight. I just think that Rigondel's his instinct isn't to go to war, and a lot of times it takes instinct to go to war. And I think that if he can't pick his shots and it gets a little bit out of his control, his instinct's going to be to shell up. It just is. So I think that it could have moments, but I don't think it's going to be like Rigo's going to take all these chances. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Casimero, when he gets going, it's going to be a pretty one-sided and just Rigo kind of staying on the defensive end. That's the way I see it. Mentality is important. Let's see here. Lord of the Flies tweeted about Jake Donovan tweeted about Joshua Franco and Andrew Maloney making weight. He says the style matchup is great, of course, but the venom they're carrying in tomorrow could make it the night stealer. And it's true. That's a hell of a matchup. I just thought that Andrew Maloney kind of figured him out, like in the second fight, even though it came up short, it ended quick, controversially. I just thought what he did, the way he was going in that fight, the control he had, it looked like it was going to be a one-sided night. What else we got? Okay, well, that's Canelo one. So they're just announcing that they're still talking. Let's see. Okay, why Arnold Barboza Jr. versus Jose Zepeda would be a good LA fight for a vacant world title? That's an excellent fight. It's an excellent matchup. Zepeda needs a big fight. He had a fight of the year last year. Lost a little bit of it when he fought Hammer and Hank Lundy. And Barboza, who has had an impressive performance after impressive performance, him and Zepeda it just makes sense. Like, it's just not a hard fight to come up with. Sometimes these fights just make themselves. That's one of them. And yeah, I would put that fight, in the StubHub Arena, wherever the hell they call it now, Home Depot Center. I don't know what it is now. I don't know what it's called. Citizen Bank? No, I don't know what it's called. I just call it StubHub. Put that in there. That's a great fight. That's a great fight over here, and they'll have a lot of local fans for that fight. And both those guys grew up right around the same area. I think Jose Cepeda's from La Puente and Barbosa's from like Azusa or something like that. They're close. They're right here, right next to each other. That'd be a great fight. Let's see. and fake crowd noise at the PFL event. It takes away from the experience. It doesn't add to it. I agree with that 100%. And I didn't like when PBC did that either. It was very annoying. I do not need fake crowd noise. I don't need to know when people are supposed to be cheering. I just cheer at home. I don't need that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I'm 100% with that guy. Human things. We're kind of back on here. Let me end with a good one. Let's see here. Okay, so this is where this all started. Rumors about Al Heyman attempting to secure a Paramount streaming deal to replace an exiting Fox deal. Problem now is Paramount and Showtime are both owned by CBS. Paramount executives are seeing bad ratings PBC is doing on Showtime. The deal is iffy at best, right? And this is Rick Glaser. Well, I'm not sure how connected Rick Glaser is. He has a pretty ridiculous picture where he's just like that on and any time someone's just like that in a picture, I gotta take his information with a grain of salt. But when he says bad ratings on Showtime, I think the Showtime ratings have been decent. I mean, everyone's ratings are down. Like if the NFL's ratings are down, right? If the NBA's ratings are down, everyone's ratings are gonna go down. And I think a lot of people are streaming stuff. So when he says Showtime, does he mean TV? Is he including streaming, right? Because a lot of people just stream stuff now, right? Not a lot of people have cable anymore. So if you're gonna stream Showtime, you wouldn't necessarily have cable. Also, a lot of people illegally stream fights as well. So I think everything's down. So I think that if you're using 1995 ratings comparison to now, yeah, it's going to be a little different and it's not going to match up. That doesn't mean that, it's bad. Everything is relative to the situation you're in. So I don't know. I don't think they're that bad. I don't think the ratings are bad. I think the ratings are pretty good on Fox. So that you can see those ratings, right? Everyone can see those. They're pretty damn good on Fox. They match up with anything that the indie card the UFC puts on TV, right? They're equivalent to the prelims, all that. They're equivalent. Sometimes are better. So I don't know what does he expect? Does he want 3 million views on the Fox card? What does he want on Showtime? Showtime's subscription base. It's a complete smaller group of a pool of people that you're choosing from. And live TV is valuable. It's more valuable than ever, right? Live TV, where you have to watch the whole. I don't know why I burp on these things. I don't know why when I talk continuously, I burp on these things. And it's annoying. And I think in my head, like, don't burp on these things. But for some reason, I'm talking on a podcast because I don't like when I'm talking to a person. I don't have this problem. But on a podcast, maybe I'm just so damn passionate that I have to burp it out. That's all right, though. I'm going to embrace the burping. That's my thing now. You know what I'm saying? I turn that into my thing. I'm like, this dude burps on his podcast. It's badass. But live TV is important because people have to watch all the way through. They have to. They have to watch all the way through. So all the ratings they do, advertisements they do and everything like that, people have to watch that. Because you're watching live TV. It's the most valuable thing, form of, if you're going to watch on TV, that's the most valuable thing you can get right now. I think that Al Heyman is going to be able to find a deal, whether it's with Paramount or whatever. Now, the part that I do look forward to is if they do sign with Paramount, all the guys that are just pro PBC and screw everyone else, what they say about the streaming, because they've been super negative about the streaming. I am curious about that. But that part I kind of look forward to. But I do want them to get a deal. I mean, I wouldn't root for them not to get a deal like everybody else is. I don't get that. Thanks for listening. This has been the Straight to Video podcast.